Good morning and welcome to WinHEC. WinHEC is a very important event for us, an opportunity to bring together the key partners in the Windows ecosystem and talk about where we're going next. And year after year, we've driven key advances, things like USB, plug and play. All of these things come out of the kind of collaboration and discussions that take place at this event. This year we have a healthier, stronger PC market than ever, and lots of new opportunities in front of us. So there's lots and lots to talk about as we take the PC into new areas. We're taking advantage, of course, of many trends. The miniaturization of the PC is leading it to be used more in mobile-type environments. The form factor that connects up to high-speed wireless means you can get the information wherever you want to go. We're taking advantage of the incredible chip improvements that Intel and AMD and others bring us that allow us to be more ambitious in terms of what software can do on the device. Things like ink recognition and speech recognition, visual recognition are now within reach because of that incredible performance. And of course, we benefit from the incredible trend towards internet usage, more and more broadband capability globally, and that's driving people to take things that would have been done without the Windows PC and make the Windows PC a central element of that activity. For example, think of photography. Over the last 5 years, it's shifted to largely be digital. The way you organize and archive those photos is now done overwhelmingly through software on the Windows PC. And if we think of that broadly, over the next 5 years, the whole idea of memories, keeping track of the neat things that happen with your kids or your families or your calendar, all of that organized and easy to navigate, software can do a lot more than it's doing today using the power of these machines. The digitization of the economy, advertising becoming targeted and moving to an online environment. That's creating an economic model that drives more and more software creation. There's no doubt that as the world globalizes, the tool that's allowing that to happen, allowing work to be done anywhere, allowing matching of buyers and sellers in new ways, it's this software ecosystem running on the PC that allows that to happen. And so we get a virtuous cycle here as we make the software and hardware better. We get these ambitious new applications, and those drive us to provide new levels of performance and capacity. And fortunately, all the elements are coming together. If we take bandwidth on the network, that's enabling what we want to do. If we take the resolution of the screens, low cost, large LCDs, a move in the home towards high definition. Now, with those screens coming down in cost, that's something that everyone building Windows games and thinking about interactive experiences can assume very, very high definition. And so the innovation feeds on itself, and it's led, of course, to record sales of Windows PCs. Over 250 million PCs will be sold this year, and that's more than a 10% increase coming up from last year. Increases across the board, the use in business, the use in education, the use at home, every one of those things simply getting stronger and stronger. A big trend towards the mobile form factors, the smaller form factors that you can take and use anywhere connected to the wireless network. Now last year, a big theme of WinHEC was the move of the industry from 32-bit to 64-bit. Making a transition in terms of our memory model has always been a tough thing for the industry. From 8-bit to 16-bit, that was done with an incompatible change from essentially 8080 type processors to 8086. Moving from 8086 to 286, get a little more memory going from 16-bit to sort of 20-bit, 24-bit. That was a very messy transition because of the different schemes for extended memory. Here for 32-bit to 64-bit, it's been very smooth. Upwards compatibility, running the older applications, and so you've seen lots of the software have a very simple job to move up and not only run 64-bit, but to take advantage of it. Here you see a list of the products we put out that are 64-bit optimized, that run best in that 64-bit environment. We're now making a shift, and this is a very important shift, that a number of our server products are going to be 64-bit only. So if you look out there, starting with this year, there are a number of releases. For example, the next big release of Exchange Server 2007, that we had codenamed as Exchange 12, that comes out late this year. That is a 64-bit only release. And so a clear message starting on the server but moving down onto the client over time that 64-bit is here to stay and will be pervasive. I would give the industry as a whole very high marks for how this transition was made. It did require device driver makers to come out and test their new drivers, and we still have a little bit of that to do, but overall I'd say the pieces fell into place very well. And that's very appropriate because, as you can see from this chart, the arrival of 64-bit and the percentage of the machines using it is very, very high. We can see on the server it got out ahead, but then on desktop, very quick rise to where over the next 3 years you move to basically 100%, even on low-cost machines, and then mobile only lagging that a little bit. And so 64-bit really is here. It's allowed us to achieve record levels of performance that even dramatically more expensive machines cannot achieve. We'll no longer be talking about catching up with proprietary Unix or mainframe performance because we've gone far beyond that. Now it's simply the absolute level of performance, tackling problems that used to be in the realm of supercomputing or rich data mining of things like weblogs that provide really unbelievable amounts of data. So what is the next big issue for our industry that's really core to the architecture of how we build systems and write software? Well, it's multi-core. And multi-core is happening pretty quickly, right on the tail of 64-bit. Here you see a similar curve showing for the different system types how rapidly we see it moving to multi-core. And it's quite dramatic. You can see as you move out to 2009, again, all the different types of systems will be multi-core systems. Now, the software has always had the ability to run multiple threads in parallel, and so we immediately get benefit from this capability. However, optimizing the software, particularly as you move up into large numbers of cores, as you move to 4, 8, 16, 32, that requires architectural changes. It requires understanding where the bottlenecks are. It requires changes in the tools and the performance analysis that gets done. If we're going to keep those cores working for the user and not just sitting idle, it requires actually some very, very innovative work. And this is very necessary because the raw clock performance that we're going to see in changing over the next 4 or 5 years won't be the rate of the past. It'll only be a doubling or at most a tripling, it appears. And therefore, a lot of the performance gains will come from activating those additional cores and making sure we have the right parallelism. This has been a huge focus of our research activities, thinking through the tools and the high-level expression. But it has an impact on all of us here, the drivers, the way we think about the way that the hardware and software are coming together. So a lot of energy will go into that, and that will give us the kind of advances we want. Now, there's changes across the board in terms of how hardware and software work together. If we think about boot, we're finally moving away from the old BIOS to this unified extensible firmware interface. And that gives us new flexibility and capability. And it's got a rich API set to build on. So many of you are working with us on that. In networking, making sure that there's no bottleneck here, that you can get a TCP IP stack that not only has the IPv6, but that can scale and perform, and even perform more of the functions down at the driver level, things like the encryption, decryption capabilities being down there as well. In the wireless area, a lot going on around Wi-Fi and the new performance there, a lot going on with the ultra-wideband, which we think will be important as well. And so building in a very rich wireless stack that lets people understand why it's working, why it's not, what's going on. A lot that's important that where Vista's a big change there. In memory management, we have the whole idea of being able to cache in a very sophisticated way. Inside Windows, this is called superfetch. And it gets rid of a lot of the bottleneck of going out to the disk again and again. And so non-volatile memory allows us to improve performance fairly dramatically in lots of cases, and even reduce power by letting the disk spin down when we're able to get the storage mostly off of that RAM non-volatile memory combination. And so working together to make sure we've got the right approach here, and this superfetch can give the performance back to the user that we want. Finally, power management is a gigantic issue because of this move to mobile, wanting the long battery life, and yet wanting to do that without giving up system capabilities. And so a lot of things about hybrid sleep and policies that we need to work together on that are making drivers have to be a lot more sophisticated in this area. You know, we see the PC changing. We see it with bigger screens, more mobility. The relationship between telephony and the PC will change dramatically, getting great microphones in there, taking the graphics to this next level of performance and having all applications take advantage of that. And so the PC in no way is standing still, and that provides opportunity for all of us, but we need to make sure the right standards are in place, we're coordinated, we're getting all the levels of the stack working together so that the innovations roll out and are fully utilized. If we step back and think about IT departments, they face a demand for lower operational costs, higher utilization of what they've got. They want to take a lot of things that have been manual and put them under software control. Even the idea of what software load is running on which server really should be software that's looking at that, deciding how to move those things around. And it means moving to describe systems in a more high-level modeled type fashion. It means having software that makes things like updating far easier, so it's not a system-by-system activity, but just one policy-type command that gets given. If we can free up the operational expense that people have in managing these systems, they can take those dollars and spend it on buying new servers and implementing new applications, moving to Wi-Fi or new portable machines for all of their employees. And so this kind of software innovation for IT operational challenges we think is really fundamental. It's what's going to allow customers to move and focus on these future things. Just take something as simple as I want to buy a new server, bring it in, install it, configure it, get the software up and running on that. How much manual effort should that require? Well, we can all say that the software should make it so that as soon as you plug it in, it's auto-discovered, it's just in the resource pool, and loads are distributed to that system. But we all know that we're far away from achieving that goal today. The kind of self-description information, discovery, service modeling that would be needed for that to be true all the time, something that we need to invest in and needs to become part of a number of industry standard efforts. Now, one of the key elements that's going to allow for these improvements is the move towards virtualization technology. This is something we're making a huge investment in, both in terms of how Windows connects up to the virtualization tools and building those tools ourselves. And then finally, what we would say is perhaps the most important thing is the management tools around it. It says you get the ability to have policies that automatically these virtual machines are being deployed and used in a way that meets whatever constraints people want to have. This means host clustering and lots of virtual machines. Of course, this is all 64-bit type capability. There's some scenarios around compatibility that are supported here, some around isolation for security type things. There's a lot of APIs that we're building at this level that are opportunities for partners. We've got a VHD format now that we've made royalty-free and available to everyone. And so a lot of commitment to this virtualization. In fact, yesterday we announced that that would be a feature, the support for it, and the server would be included with what we do with Windows Server. To give you a sense of why we're so excited about this, some of the scenarios and the commitment we've got on this, let me ask Jeff Woolsey, a lead program manager on this work, to come out and give you a glimpse of how we see it being used. Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks, Bill. It's a pleasure to be here to demonstrate for the very first time our new hypervisor-based Windows Server virtualization. My assistant Mike is going to bring up the new Windows Server Virtualization UI, and let's get started. As you can see, Windows Server Virtualization uses a new MMC interface and takes advantage of the latest MMC capabilities in Longhorn Server. Let's bring up our first virtual machine. As you can see, this VM is running Windows Server 2003 Standard Edition. You can see by the system properties and task manager, this is a uniprocessor 32-bit virtual machine. In fact, we created this VM using the free version of Virtual Server 2005 R2 and migrated it to Windows Server Virtualization. We did this to demonstrate the fact that we're protecting our customers' investments in Microsoft virtualization technology so they can feel confident in creating virtual machines today, knowing that you'll be able to easily migrate them into Windows Server Virtualization. Let's bring up our next virtual machine. Our second VM is running Red Hat Enterprise Linux 4 to show the interoperability of Windows Server Virtualization. This brings us to a common question. Why is Microsoft supporting non-Microsoft operating systems in their virtualization solutions? The answers are interoperability and standardization. Our customers have told us they want to standardize on a single platform for virtualization. They don't want to use one virtualization technology for Windows and another virtualization technology for other operating systems. And since the majority of operating systems being virtualized are Windows, it only makes sense that we provide our customers the best platform for virtualization so that they can standardize on Windows Server Virtualization and Longhorn Server. Mike, let's bring up our next virtual machine. And you can see this VM is running Windows Server 2003 Enterprise x64 Edition. This is a 64-bit virtual machine. Let's also bring up Task Manager to show this is a dual processor virtual machine. By supporting 64-bit and multi-processor virtual machines, Windows Server Virtualization scales to run workloads that have larger memory and performance requirements and takes advantage of the latest hardware advancements such as multi-core technology and hardware-assisted virtualization. And as you can see here, we're running two 32-bit uniprocessor virtual machines side by side with this dual processor 64-bit virtual machine, all on the same server. Next, I'd like to talk about our new virtualized I/O architecture. In developing Windows Server Virtualization, we took a long, hard look at one of the most expensive areas to virtualize, I/O, and developed a new architecture. The goals of this new architecture are to provide the highest possible performance with the lowest possible overhead without requiring our hardware partners to develop new drivers. In addition to increased performance, this new architecture enables new hot add functionality within virtual machines. For example, this dual processor Windows Server 2003 virtual machine we actually created without a network adapter. You can see Mike has brought up the network connections to show there simply aren't any. We did this so we can demonstrate just how easy it is to hot add a network adapter to a virtual machine. So Mike is going to switch over to the Windows Server Virtualization UI, select the virtual machine settings. He's going to add a network adapter, click Add, and OK. Let's go back to that virtual machine, and you can see we just hot added a network adapter to this virtual machine without downtime. No other hardware virtualization technology provides this functionality for Windows, and this is only the tip of the iceberg. Before I show you more hot add functionality, let's bring up the next virtual machine. Here is Longhorn Server, and as you can see by the system properties, this is a 64-bit virtual machine with 4 gigabytes of memory. In fact, this is a great opportunity to mention that we've shattered the virtual server limitation of 3.6 gigabytes of memory per VM. With Windows Server Virtualization, each VM can allocate more than 32 gigabytes of memory per virtual machine. Let's bring up Task Manager to show that this is also a quad processor virtual machine. By providing quad processor, and in fact up to 8 processor support for each virtual machine, Windows Server Virtualization scales to run enterprise-class workloads. Now, suppose we created this quad processor virtual machine for a SQL workload. Over time, as more people access this database concurrently, we see an increase in paging. What we really need to do is allocate more memory. Well, with Windows Server Virtualization, it's pretty simple. But before we actually do this, let's pay attention to Task Manager and look at the total memory. I've actually asked Mike to put the cursor right under where you need to look, because this hot add occurs so quickly that if you blink, you just may miss it. This VM has 4 gigabytes of memory to it. Mike is going to go back to the Windows Server Virtualization UI, bring up the virtual machine settings, and we're going to change the memory for this VM from 4 gigabytes to 5 gigabytes, and click OK. Let's go back to that virtual machine and look at Task Manager now. You can see we've just hot added a gigabyte of memory to this virtual machine without downtime. Again, no other hardware virtualization technology provides this functionality for Windows. This is also an excellent example of the integration between the Windows kernel and the Windows hypervisor to provide our customers the best solution in terms of dynamic capabilities and performance. In short, Longhorn Server has been developed to take advantage of hypervisor-based virtualization. This is Windows Server Virtualization. Thank you very much.
What you saw there we'll have in beta this year, and it'll RTM after Windows Server Longhorn. We expect it'll be about 100 days after the server release of Longhorn. That is a technology that we're working with a number of on to make sure we're getting everything right there in terms of how it connects up to device drivers and industry standards and those things. So a very important thing. I also mentioned how important the management software element of this is, and we call that System Center Virtual Machine Manager. And that's being developed in parallel with this. And I'd say in terms of making it simple to define policies about resources and performance and things like that, and let you control a lot of these all at once. That piece is a necessary element that some people sometimes miss when they think about how we're going to get all of this to come together. So together we see this really helping with that IT challenge I mentioned, helping them simplify things they do in terms of provisioning, running older applications, and then freeing them up for what they really ought to be doing with innovative applications. Bob Mugley in his speech will talk more about virtualization, so you'll go away with a clear theme here about how serious we are about that area. The overall PC ecosystem is getting richer and richer, and this has to do with the variety of PC devices. It has to do with the variety of devices the PC is connecting up to. And we think this is fantastic. The more digital devices there are, the more valuable the Windows PC becomes. In terms of form factors for the Windows PC, one of the great successes over the last several years has been Media Center edition of Windows. A year ago, it was a little bit of a phenomenon. 2 years ago, it really didn't exist. It's this year that we're getting all the elements to come together, the connections to the cable video, the satellite video, connecting up to those standards on a global basis. And so people really can expect the PC to be the place where everything comes together. Video over the internet, where the innovation is great, but also the traditional video sources coming together into one place. And so that energy we put around Media Center has paid off in a very big way. Another form of Windows that we're very committed to is the tablet version that works with Ink. I hope a lot of you noticed that we've had some new form factors that we call ultra-mobile PCs come out. This is one that came out from Samsung just in the last month. And this looks very good. It's bringing in new price points, new capabilities, and really a very nice device that can either be your primary PC or a second PC. Obviously, the industry benefits a lot if we can make it easier to work with multiple PCs and people decide that the one at work, the one at home, the one they have on the go, that those are different machines, and yet we make that a seamless experience. We have a lot of emphasis on that because as you're seeing these different form factors, the idea that at different times you want those, that becomes more important. Now, the complementary devices to the PC are often devices that are about media consumption. The Windows PC is unique in terms of that's where you organize things, that's where you edit and create things, that's where decisions about commerce and rich communications will be taking place. But the phone that's getting richer and richer connects up to that. And so we just want to make it simple for your mail, your schedule, your documents to show up there. This is a phone that was just announced this week. This is called the Motorola Q. We're quite excited about it because it brings together all the advantages of Windows Mobile and how it has the affinity to the Windows PC with a great hardware form factor that our partner, in this case Motorola, has put together. And so the volume of these has gone up quite dramatically, about 6 million last calendar year, and we expect quite a bit of growth. And there's experimentation in terms of the different form factors we think is very important. Digital media devices, this is a new one from iRiver that they call their Clicks. It's got a 2 gig flash drive in it and a fairly innovative design in terms of how you just use the edges to navigate around. Good support for photos, music, video, and even an FM tuner there. And so a partner building something that's very complementary to the Windows PC that you can connect up and sync in an easy way. And the more people are using those devices, working in a digital fashion, the more time they're going to be using their PC and connecting up to media of all type, including video blogs, audio blogs, user-created content, as well as the typical sort of albums or TV shows that you'd expect to see there. Now, these scenarios, video, for example, require all of us to invest in the ecosystem. For example, with video, getting high definition to display so there's no frames being dropped, so the audio is the wonderful 5.1 just built in, so that whatever requirements people have for encryption in these media pathways, that we're able to meet those needs so that studios feel comfortable putting their content into our environment. Well, this requires work at the driver level, at the operating system level, at the application level. And so a very, very important thing. These new form factors require innovation. I mentioned the tablet. We are pushing that into the mainstream right now. The strength of it is in areas like in health and insurance, where special applications have been written for it. We want to get so that even students think of that as the natural portable machine for them to use. And with the Vista version of the tablet software and some of these hardware changes, we think we move a significant step in that direction. Things like syncing between the devices, that's an area of big investment for us. Making these network connections between these devices, both through the general internet, but also peer-to-peer type connections, so that you can exchange things. There's a lot of investment that we're doing in that as well. I mentioned telephony and its connection to the PC. This means that connecting over the Bluetooth or having array-type microphones for high-quality communications, and thinking of telephony as just something that the PC does very, very well. Over time, PBXs, traditional PBXs, will be like mainframes in the sense that there'll be less and less of them. We'll have nice gateways to them. But the really rich new functionality, the great applications with flexibility and high quality, will be moving to be pure IP-based with PC software in control instead of going into a lot of specialized, limited capabilities that PBX could support. And so thinking through how products like, in our case, Communicator and Messenger connect up to that world, and yet even in a sense, overtake it with new capabilities for screen sharing and multiple people working with the cameras and the software value added we can have on top of that. A lot that can go on, including hardware innovation that we need there. Obviously, storage is exploding, making it easy for people to carry around a flash drive and yet have that information be secure. We need to take a role in defining some of the standards there so that that becomes straightforward. And even some of that you'll have on the phone as it's connecting up either physically or over a Bluetooth or Wi-Fi type connection. So we're just scratching the surface in terms of these user-centric experiences with the different devices and what can be done there. Well, today's a milestone for us in terms of the huge investment and big innovation going into the next major version of Windows and all of the complementary products. We're actually announcing today the betas of 3 major products. You can say the 3 most important Microsoft products. And we've never had this synchronized in this way before. We think that's a great thing for us in terms of seeing how they work together, and then for customers as it comes time for them to roll these things out. So very specifically, Windows Vista Beta 2 is coming out today. The Windows Server, a Longhorn Beta, is coming out today, and likewise what was called Office 12, but now the 2007 Office system coming out. Each of these is a very, very important product, and they all fit within some very common themes in terms of what we're doing. One that this audience may not spend as much time on is Office, but I would highlight to you that it is quite important in the way it's using the new graphics capability for its redesigned user interface and the kind of richness it has not only for visualization but information sharing, particularly SharePoint becoming the standard platform for collaboration. In the same way that Word or Excel became standards for document creation, now SharePoint is something that you'll just assume that everybody knows and uses, and there'll be standard templates there for managing a project or setting up a discussion, and all the kind of rich capabilities around blogs and wikis are all available there. And so getting people to collaborate inside your operation with that flexibility just becomes common sense. You'll take it for granted that you're setting those things up and using them. So Office is a very important part of this triumvirate of major products that are coming out today. What are the key themes? Well, simplifying how people work together. That's a very key thing. It's about communications, seeing people's presence wherever they go, being able to find things. There are very rich search capabilities that span these products, making it so when you do search, you can search on the desktop and on the SharePoint server, the file server, with one simple command and see those results come back all together. There's a theme around security. Microsoft many years ago talked about that as our top priority, and absolutely that remains the case. We're very proud of the progress we've made facing down these problems in a way that no one else has. The updating infrastructure, the testing processes that we go through, the techniques for isolation that we're providing customers, including things like the IPsec-based work. Great progress there, and that's built in to each one of these products. They went through with a methodology for design and testing that really brings security up to a whole new level. The managing content, that has to do with the rights protection capability, these search type capabilities, really being able to implement compliance processes across all the different ways that information is stored. You've got your Exchange mail store, you've got SharePoint file stores, you've got people taking things off on laptops. How do you implement the critical business requirements of backing those things up and having policies? And that's a scenario that we made sure across all the work in these products, we made that fairly straightforward. So rich information, empowerment, helping IT to do their piece of this very well, and then creating opportunities for developers. Every one of these products has things that brings their extensibility to a whole new level. A lot of it around the theme of the XML and web service type extensibility that we've been betting our company around and driving through standards processes all the way back to the year 2000 when we announced our .NET initiative. So we're really trying to bring it together for customers. I thought one way to give you a sense of how this is being accepted would be to have one of our customers, been a great partner in working with us on this, come out and talk to us a little bit about how they see these products. So let me welcome Alan Nuns, who's the General Manager of Global Technology and Strategy at Chevron. Morning, Alan.
Morning, Bill. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for coming. Tell us a little bit about Chevron and the challenges that you have to deal with.
Yeah, Chevron's a global energy company, as you know. A very interesting business to work in. Our business is finding, exploring for oil and gas, developing it, producing it, shipping it, refining it, and finally marketing it. So this is a very technological business. It's highly capital intensive, and by capital intensive what we mean is we have a lot of steel in the ground. We have a lot of steel in big platforms out on the sea. We have a lot of steel in tankers. We have steel in refineries. We have steel in trucks. So a lot of steel. So you might think Chevron's all about steel. I should have a wrench in my back pocket, right? Actually, the real business of Chevron is making business decisions very well using digital information. I mean, that really is, in a sense, our core business. We make two sorts of difficult decisions. First, because we're very capital intensive and we have long-lived assets, oil fields. The development of an oil field may last for 30 or 40 or 50 years. A refinery may last for 50 years. We have to make difficult decisions about which assets to develop, how to develop them, and to make the right economic decisions for them. And then on a day-to-day basis, we have a lot of operational decisions to make sure that our oil fields, our refineries, our pipelines, our tankers are operating safely and reliably. So we've got these sort of big decisions and then real-time decisions. And we make all of those decisions basically with people working together, generally collaborating using digital information. So to give you a perspective on that, we have about 2 petabytes of data at the moment, growing at about 2 terabytes per day. So for example, when we explore for oil and gas, the seismic data we use, which is sort of like a full body scan of part of the Earth, typically we have about 400 terabytes of that online at any given point to make our decisions about where to explore for oil. An oil platform, well, when we decide to develop an oil field, the economic analysis goes into that, or particularly if it's a portfolio analysis. Some of the biggest spreadsheets probably in any company are being run by the guys who do those analyses, right? If you put an oil field or an oil platform into commission, the design through commission is about 100,000 design documents. Those design documents then have to be carried forward into the operation so you can do maintenance many years in advance knowing what the original design was. A big oil platform at the moment is spewing out about 300 gigabytes of data per day, real-time data.
Wow.
A refinery is producing about 1 terabyte of real-time data per day, and of that, about 1 terabyte per year is stored and maintained. All of the people, the 60,000 people we have working in 186 countries, exchange about 1 million emails per day. So we're doing teamwork across geographies. So people in Angola are working with people in Houston, are working with people in the Bay Area to make decisions, both these capital decisions and also the real-time decisions. Our commercial transactional systems are processing about 4 million commercial transactions per day. So we've got this really data-rich environment. We've got this 2 petabytes of data. About half of that is what you would call structured data in big databases, big files. The other half is documents, emails, PowerPoints, Excels, all sorts of other documents. And there's probably about 100 million of those. And many of them, because of the long time cycle in our business, we actually have to keep and maintain and make sure we have them for future reference. So our biggest strength is information management, and our biggest challenge is probably information management at this point. So that's sort of where we're at the moment.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Well, contrary to a lot of companies, Chevron's been willing to embrace new technologies, including a lot of the different waves of Microsoft technology. How's your experience been?
Yeah, in 1998, I think we were one of the first major global corporations to roll out a very standard desktop and server infrastructure worldwide. And we were early adopters at that point of the NT4 technology, and we put in place software distribution, etc. So from that point on, Chevron employees worldwide actually had very standard desktop, very standard laptops. If people traveled from one part of the world to the other, they could immediately log on to somebody else's PC, get rights, work efficiently, And it was a really major step both in cutting IT costs, but also in improving business productivity. And our business folks were very happy with it. We sort of rode that cycle through, and then in the 2001, 2002 point, we went to the next wave. And right at that point, we were actually merging Chevron and Texaco, so we were doubling the global reach of our company and becoming really a very, very large global company at that point. And in the next wave, we rolled out XP across the enterprise. We also significantly improved our network infrastructure, and it significantly improved our security infrastructure by implementing smart badges and things in with the Office system. Okay? And what we really gained in that was really a globalization of work processes and a focus on people actually in more or less real time, or real time being able to work across geographies. So we made a lot of use of net meeting, a lot of use of instant messaging and so on. So we really created a global community at that point. So we're now about to embark upon the third wave of adoption with the 2007 set of products. And we're really looking for a lot of the new Vista capabilities, particularly the encryption of laptops, and the server capabilities for improved manageability of this network and infrastructure. But the big bet we're probably making in this wave, coming back to my starting comments, is an information management bet. Because if you think about it, we've sort of had 60,000 people operating in a way that they could communicate and collaborate seamlessly, but in many cases they were storing their own sort of set of business information with them. And now with the new SharePoint environment, Office 2007 environment, we're really looking to create a sort of a standard information management infrastructure. So we're moving up the stack into really the business layer for that. So that's the next thing that we're...
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Chevron's part of all three the programs, the Longhorn tab, the client and server and Office as well. So let me hand over to you these Beta 2 DVDs for all three of these products. You'll be the first customer to get all three of these. Well, thanks. It's super to be working together.
Likewise. Thank you.
And of course, the Longhorn client and server bits will be available to all of you here. We're turning out DVDs as I speak, and so all of you, I know you're anxious to get your hands on that, and we'll make sure that happens. Well, next, I wanted to give you a chance to see the progress we made, give you a sense of which of the key advances we're excited about here, what the scenarios are. And so you'll see a demo that combines elements of all three of the products. And so to give us a quick tour of that, let me ask out Mika Kramer, Director of the Windows Division. Thanks, Mika.
Thanks, Bill. Good morning. What I'd like to show you today are the great customer experiences that our software can enable together with your products. So I'd ask you to suspend your disbelief for a moment, pretend that I'm an ad exec, and let me invite you over to my office. Now, if you look at my desktop, you can see that Windows Vista offers us an amazing visual experience. If you look over here on the right-hand side, there's Windows Sidebar. It has gadgets that are customized based on the information that I want at a glance, and they're dynamically updated. A particular gadget that I'm obsessed with lately since I recently moved to Seattle is this weather gadget. I am hoping for a day without rain, and I'm constantly looking for one. I can take this gadget, drag it out onto my desktop, and look at the forecast. What's incredible is innovations in touch monitors together with Windows Vista enable me to interact with my PC in different ways. So I can touch my screen and drag it back to where I want it. Another such marriage of hardware and software innovation is this picture frame. This picture frame is enabled with Windows Slideshow on the Windows Slideshow platform, and it takes content from my PC that I can customize to provide me with at-a-glance information that I value. So you can see I have pictures of my kids, I have my Outlook reminders, and I'm constantly updated with what's happening with my IM buddies. Now, as a high-powered executive, I like to start my day and figure out what's going on in the world. And I do that by looking at Internet Explorer. It'll pull up my favorite news sites. And I can look at my news sites, and I can navigate using the tabs. But what's really cool is if I go to Quick Tabs, and it gives me a snapshot of each of the home pages of my favorite sites, and I can decide where to go. Right now, I'd like to go to the New York Times. This is great, but let me tell you something that's even better. The New York Times is working and taking advantage of the Windows platform and creating an application, and that's the New York Times Reader. And what they've done is they're developing a user interface that's far more like reading a physical paper, but has the benefit of the immediacy of the web. You can see here, what's great is if I resize my window, it automatically resizes the content. Great visual experience. I can go in and I can navigate, look at the information that's interesting to me. That's particularly interesting. Sausages. And once I'm done with the news, I can shut it down. What I like to do is then go into email. I click to this last email. I see here that I actually have an email from my colleague, Shannon. And he's telling me here that there's a last-minute request of a key client that's coming into town tomorrow, and I have to update a presentation to help him out. If you're like me, I access dozens of documents. I look through hundreds of emails and a handful of applications every week. I find it extremely challenging to figure out what I'm looking for and to easily find and use that information, that content. Windows Vista helps you out with this. If I go here, I know the presentation that I'm looking for has something to do with sales. So if I enter sales, check out my search results. My search results come up with documents, but they also come up with news articles that are related to sales. See here an article with the New York Times. And the search actually extends beyond the desktop. Thanks to Windows Server Longhorn, it actually searches my network for documents and applications. Now, I know that the presentation is on this sales server here, so I can go to the server, and I can see here another visual experience where I can look at a glance at the first page of every document, and again, it helps me easily find the content that I'm looking for. I can also, without having to open the document, browse through the content and see whether this is what I'm looking for. And in fact, this is the presentation I'm looking for, so I'll open it. Again, just like Windows Vista, Office 2007 offers an amazing visual experience. We've replaced the taskbar with this ribbon. And what's really cool about this ribbon is that based on what you're doing with your document, it dynamically changes for better discoverability of features. Because how many times have you worked on a Word document, a PowerPoint document, and you're trying to figure out how to insert a page number, you're trying to figure out how to insert a date. Office 2007 makes that easier. Now, I know in this presentation, I need to update this diagram. It's embarrassing, I've spent countless hours trying to create diagrams in PowerPoint, getting the right shape, getting the right color, making sure the fonts look right. PowerPoint 2007 makes it amazingly easy. So I see here that I need a product cycle. PowerPoint offers me a whole host of diagrams that I can automatically use. And I'd like to click this cycle. It provides me the opportunity to enter my text and automatically formats that text for me. And I can also format the look of the diagram, the color scheme, click off, and within seconds, I have something that looks like a graphics designer created. Now, I have one more thing I need to do to this presentation, and that's add a slide. As a high-powered executive, I like to do as little work as possible, and I like to leverage the work of others. What's amazing with PowerPoint 2007 and SharePoint Server is that I can go access slide libraries of content that I've created that others have created. So I can go in here, click the spot that I want to add the slide, and hit Add Slide. Alternatively, I can go in, hit Add Slide, and say reuse slides. And this accesses my slide library. I'll go in, opens the presentation that I accessed last. And again, I get great visual cues on the slides within the presentation without actually having to open the presentation itself. I scroll down. This is a slide I want. With one click, it adds the slide, and my document is complete. What's amazing also, it's really cool, is that the owner of this slide, if the owner of this slide ever updates this slide, what will happen is I'll get a notification that will ask me whether I want to apply those updates to manage version control. Now, I see here that Shannon's IMing me. Oh, he's about to meet me. He wants to meet me to look at this presentation, so I'll just reply to him. Sure. Okay, so I'm just going to save this to my desktop. We'll be good to go. As I wait for Shannon, I can use this amazing form factor, and while I'm offline, I can access my New York Times reader. What's great about this is that I can take advantage of the touch capabilities and navigate my way through the New York Times reader. I can click on items, I can scroll back and use gestures to go back and forth throughout the document and look at the information that's most meaningful to me. And it's an amazingly immersive experience that's much more like reading an actual physical paper. And then when I go back online, what will happen is it'll update the content, so then I'm refreshed.
Hey, Mika.
Hey, Shannon. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great, thanks.
How's the presentation coming along?
Perfect. I think I did all the updates that we need.
Good. Did you get a chance to email it to me? I didn't get the chance to check my email.
I didn't email it to you. Actually, it's too big to email, so I have it on my desktop here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, so we're in the lobby here. We don't have a wireless network available to us. What we have in Windows Vista is a new feature called Windows Meeting Space. And this is built on the peer-to-peer platform that's in Windows Vista, and allow us to use the wireless cards in our laptops to connect up with one another. So I'm going to go ahead and start a collaboration session here. And I'll actually go ahead and invite Mika to the meeting. And Mika, you're going to get an invitation there here shortly. Actually, why don't you start the collaboration session?
Okay,
for us
perfect.
And what's great about this is this can be used anywhere. If you're out with partners or customers and you don't have a wireless network available to you, or you can't get on that domain infrastructure network that they have, you can just easily connect up with one another to share files, to view presentations. And it's just using, again, the mobile technologies of the laptop PCs to share information. We can view PowerPoint presentations. We can pass control around the room to one another to show each other the documents and even share information. So there it's got presence information, so you can see that Mika's inviting me to the meeting. And I'm going to join the meeting here with Mika. Okay. And Mika, can you go ahead and just share one of the files of your PowerPoint?
What I can do is I can actually drag over the PowerPoint presentation and share with Shannon my presentation. He'll be able to view it on his screen. And we can review the presentation. And we can do this when we're in a meeting with multiple people so that you can project your presentation among everyone who's in the room. And what's great about this is that what I can also do is not only share the presentation, but drag the presentation over into handouts and make it available to everyone else who's in the room so that they can save it and then they have a copy of the presentation that I've provided.
And Mika, I've got a video here too that is from the customer. It's an ad spot that they're working on. So I'm going to drag that into the handouts area of this session as well. And it's going to use the peer-to-peer technologies to share this with us. So we've got this both on our laptops here. Great.
And you can see that that ad has actually made it over to my computer, and now I have this video that sits on my work PC that I can take with me.
Great. I think we're all set.
Perfect.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Shannon.
I'll see you at the meeting tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Now, as I travel home, I'm going to put my work PC away. Before my husband and kids get home, there's a few things I need to take care of. Shannon, in a phone conversation earlier, had told me that Frank, one of our key clients, was now in charge of some of the international accounts. And so as a result, I need to update the customer database because we're sending out some mailers to our clients, and I want to make sure that he gets the right information. Now, if any of you had tried to access any of your company information or company applications from anywhere other than your business PCs, you know that at times it can be challenging. You have to RAS in, you have to VPN in, you might forget your smart card. Worse still, on your home PC, you might not have the right software to connect. Well, with Windows Server Longhorn Terminal Services, from any browser, I can access my line of business applications. So I can go here and launch a browser session and go to my customer database. And what I'll do is I'll enter my information and I'll log in. I'll search for my client. And I'll update the information. So I'll say, please send international docs. Update it, log out. Update's complete, access my application, I can now go on. So one more thing I want to do here. I actually want to see the video that Shannon provided me in the lobby that's now on my work PC over here on my home PC. And one of the great things with Windows Vista is the ability to access media, your pictures, your videos, your movies, from any PC in the house. Because I've enabled sharing of media between my home PC and my work PC, so that when I launch Media Center and go into my video library, I'll be able to see the video, and any media for that matter, that's on my work PC over there. So you can see here that the video from Shannon is on my work PC, and I can stream it over to my home PC and view it here. Again, an amazingly rich visual experience. So what you've seen as I've traveled from my office to my home, and I've been on the go, you can see the amazing customer experiences that our software can enable. But this can only be made possible through innovations of products from you. Thank you very much.
Another important development in our industry is the creation of web services. And Microsoft calls its platform in this area where we'll provide services and make it easy for other developers to provide services. We call it Windows Live. And we even talk about this as the live era, where all the software services that you used to be able to get only by setting up your own server will have parallels that are equivalent that can be done through a services type approach. Some things like indexing the web or having maps of the world will typically be available only in a services level because nobody would want to duplicate that within their infrastructure. Whereas other capabilities like storage and mail and communications capabilities, you'll have the ability to mix and match. In our case, of course, we're using identical architecture for the on-premise things you do in your data center with the server and what we're doing with these services up in the cloud. These services will advance Windows personal computing in a very dramatic way. Even just something as simple as having a document translation service or this virtual Earth with all the different maps and things, that's a very big deal. We're very active in this area. We built a lot of end-user capabilities, and now we're focusing on converting those and having rich APIs for people to take advantage of those things. With our mail, we've got 240 million users, about the same number with Messenger, over 100 million with Spaces, which is about blogging, and that's a very new thing and already big numbers. One thing we've seen just in the last few months as we've provided more support is the uptake on voice and video. And in fact, we have a lot of enhancements to make these better that are coming out this year that should drive them even more. If you just take 1 month, we had 800 million minutes of voice, and in the same month, 1 billion minutes of video, and just overwhelming use of those capabilities. And so this is changing communications and how people think about that. If we think about Windows Live and why this is going to be important, just imagine somebody trying to decide about keeping their photos on their machine. Will they ever lose those photos? Well, if we can define a backup service that does that for them, they'll be more willing to use the digital approach. Likewise, for purchasing music digitally, if they lose the rights because something happens to that machine, having it in an archive up in the cloud will make you more comfortable with that. Perhaps most important is the scenario I mentioned about making it easy to move from one Windows PC to another. These cloud-based services can be involved in doing that replication. So even if the machines aren't turned on at the same time, as you leave one machine, that information is moved up to the cloud, and then as you connect up with the other machine, the information comes down. And so the ability to work with multiple machines, not having to think about moving the information around, that happens for you in a very automatic way. Now, Windows Live creates a number of partner opportunities. We have SDKs coming out. We have even special peripherals that are connecting up to these communications capabilities. For example, today we're announcing that we have a partnership with Best Buy where they'll offer in their retail outlets these messenger-type phones. One will come from a company called Uniden that's quite good. We've also got a Microsoft hardware, a webcam. We've got a Plantronics headset. We've got this is the Motorola messenger-type phone that connects up and lets you have typical telephony things, but also the presence and the capabilities that a messenger internet VoIP environment provides. A lot of partners doing the peripherals that connect these ways. For example, not only that Microsoft webcam, but one from Creative as well, and one with Logitech as well. And so a lot going on around Live that's going to change how people use PCs, going to change what all of us want to bring together to fit into these new applications. So we thought it'd be good to give you a quick demo of some of the new capabilities in Live, and Irvin Poliquin will come out and show us why we're so excited about this area. Welcome.
Thank you, Bill. Good morning. Today I'm very pleased to show you the first devices uniquely built to target the hundreds of millions of Windows Live users. And I will show you at the end how you can also tap into that opportunity. For that, I'd like to invite you into my home. The place here is my living room. The place over there is my office room. And first of all, I will show you these devices that Bill mentioned. This one, it's a phone from Philips that is shipping since yesterday. So you will find it in most European retailers since yesterday. And you can see how the Windows Live Messenger brand is highly displayed to help the user to identify the phone on the shelves. This one is the Motorola phone that is just announced today by Bill. And this one is the Uniden phone that is shipping at Best Buy since 2 weeks ago. Now I'd like to do a more detailed demonstration with the Uniden phone. So first of all, this phone looks like a phone, behaves like a phone, because first and foremost, it is a phone. And if you have a grandmother visiting you and she has to do an emergency call, she will dial 911 and that will go through the regular landline. So it's very easy for the end user to discover this phone. And this phone doesn't require a specific driver. It's used a generic driver that is shipping with the Windows Live Messenger client. So now I'm going to use the Windows Live Messenger services that this phone gives access to. It enables me to do PC to PC call or PC to phone calls. Here I'm going to do a PC to call. So first of all, I press that key here, and I realize I'm not signed in. So I am here in my living room. It's not a big deal. I can remotely sign in away from my PC without having to go to my PC. So I press this sign in key, and then wirelessly will tell to my PC to sign in for me. And then, as you can see, I have my buddy list displayed on the screen. As it is a very nice color screen, I can see and look for my contact. Not only I see if you are online or offline, but I see also if you are away or busy. So now I'm looking for my friend Ken. So as I have hundreds of contacts, I don't want to scroll down. I just have to press the first initial of his first name, and then it will sort to the matching combination. So I'm going to select Ken. As you can see here, I have Ken IM address, but also I have his phone numbers. And as Ken and I are using the same live contact services that automatically update the numbers, I know that these numbers are truly his true numbers. So now I'm going to call Ken using a new service with our partner Verizon Business. It's called Verizon Web Calling, that enables me to call to any number in the world, but particularly to up to 30 countries at a very attractive price, 1.9 US cents per minute. So I'm going to call Ken now, and I'm going to put it on speakerphone so that you can listen to my conversation. Hey, Ken. Hi, it's Ervan speaking.
Hey, where are you?
Oh, you won't believe it. I'm on stage at WinHEC doing a demonstration with the Uniden phone.
Wow, I never would have known that. The sound quality is great.
Oh, that's cool, because if the sound quality is great and the prices are attractive, that's very promising. So, Ken, I have to continue now, but I'd like to chat with you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. So as we have seen, these phones are a great way to use as a normal phone. Additionally, they provide you a good extension to the voice services of Windows Live Messenger. But also, they can act as a notification display of incoming message. So if you have an incoming Windows Live mail message, you can see it on your phone. If you have an incoming Windows Live IM, you can see it on the phone. The same thing with MSN Alert. So today, we are very pleased to announce the extension of the Windows Live platform to hardware. We will release this summer the first beta of our SDK. Additionally, today we are announcing a new partnership with DSP Group, a leading chipset manufacturer for cordless phone, so that we provide reference design that will facilitate the innovation on the platform. So that's it. The Windows Live platform, a new opportunity for IHVs and OEM. Thank you.
Great. Well, the original vision of Microsoft was a computer on every desk and in every home. That goes back to the very founding of the company. And of course, the number of personal computers running Windows we have out today is really quite phenomenal. And yet, if we take it and think about 6 billion people on the planet, there's still a lot that don't have access. Now, there's a number of ways that we're dealing with that. Programs for community use of PCs, kiosk-type PCs, cafe access to PCs, a lot of innovation in that shared use model and having that be a simple way people get the early experience. But we also want to make it as simple as possible for people to own their own and have that at their house or wherever they want to use that. And so today we're announcing a technology called FlexGo that allows for a pay-as-you-go type model. That lets people essentially rent the PC, and yet the hardware control means that it's only accessible to them when they're making those payments. This is something we've worked on with a lot of partners, and their enthusiasm about using this to drive out PC penetration and get individual PC ownership out to people who wouldn't otherwise have it. It's been great to see the response in the pilots, and the partners in dozens of countries worldwide will be the first people driving this forward. And so let's take a little look at FlexGo and what the partners are saying about the trials and where they see this going.
Brazil has over 70 million people with an average household income of $2,000 to $6,000 per year. Pay-as-you-go computing is giving Brazilian families the chance to have their own personal computer for the first time. enabling new possibilities for learning and personal enrichment.
The PC is for the entire family, especially for my daughter, who's in high school and has to do a lot of research. I used to have to run out and look for a library. For me, the computer was the best way to improve her performance in school. Now I'm paying what I can afford based on what I make.
It fits my budget perfectly. At the end of the month, if a little more money is left over, I buy a more expensive card. But when I can't afford it, I buy a less expensive card and I can still use the computer. People have the flexibility to pay when they choose, and adding time to the computer is simple and straightforward.
With the pay-as-you-go computer, our sales have increased a lot, and we feel that when this program is open to everyone, we will be selling much, much more.
Thanks to this opportunity, our dream of having a computer came true. It was like an unattainable dream, but now it's real.
Pay-as-you-go computing enabled with Microsoft FlexGo has been met with great enthusiasm in Brazil. And it has the potential to bring the benefits of PC ownership within reach of millions of families around the world.
So that's a very important initiative that's part of our overall commitment to make sure that computing gets out to everyone, going back to the original commitment that the company was based around. So you've heard today a lot about how we're advancing the technology, taking advantage of the latest things, the miracles that hardware is enabling. We're driving those through the ecosystem to make sure that the software solutions come in so that the demand is there and drive this to an even higher level of volume as the ultimate in sort of the high volume, low priced offering that improves faster than any product in the economy. And the new business models, pay-as-you-go, advertising, subscriptions to live-type services, all of those are coming into a complementary way to help the Windows PC environment move up to new levels and embrace new people. The key here has always been the ecosystem, which is about working with partners like you. The key work here, of course, will go on in the technical sessions as we're really defining the new interfaces and the new capabilities. And so we thank you for coming, and we're very excited about the things that we can come up with here together to take things to a new level. Thank you.